Here he ditched the man cave and brought back the study.
That's so sexy. I love it when a man is educated and informed.
He is so dreamy, always reading books and investigating history.
Where do you think he works out?
The library.
He is so controversial, always talking about 9/11 being an inside job, the police state, constitutional rights, ancient history, government cover-ups, and how he thinks sports don't matter in real life.
Oh, I love a freethinker who searches for truth. I love it when he feeds my brain. What's his name? Kristan T. Harris.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
In the 1988 cult classic They Live, a drifter named Nada stumbles upon the ultimate conspiracy aliens, controlling us through subliminal messages. With a pair of special sunglasses, he sees the truth. Commands like obey, consume, and no independent thought. He also sees the aliens' real form. Sound familiar? Fast forward to today. Our world's flooded with ads, social media, and 24/7 news. Are we really as free as we think, or are we just following orders?
This is called the infinity technique. You look, the next thing in the picture draws you in deeper and deeper and deeper. Here we have a series of television sets, one inside another. In this particular ad, the word is dimension. It is at the top. There are a series of doorways, one going inside the next and inside the next. This is to draw you in. Patterns and colors can be used. When you look at the first one, you look at the next one, pretty soon you're on a road to infinity all the way down into the daydream altered state.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
What was that?
That's so quiet.
What's that mean?
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
What?
That's not true.
Say it again.
Who cares?
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
Why should
Maybe
you?
not.
Yes.
You can't wake up
If you don't fall asleep.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
Back to that. You told Joe Rogan in a podcast in August when you were discussing all of this that you have viewed evidence of interdimensional beings here on Earth and that they operate through the time spaces that we currently have. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that a good example would be some of the photo-visual evidence that we've seen directly in some of these classified briefings that will now be made public. One of the famously now, infamous videos that we showed in one of our hearings was actually a video that was dead dropped to Eric Burlison, who's a member of Congress, from within the Department of War, and it shows a UAP, an unidentified air phenomena, deflecting a Hellfire missile. This was taken off of ISR footage off the coast of, I believe it was Yemen. So long story short, there have been briefings that we've received as Congress that leads us to believe that, yes, there is definitely an advanced technology out there that's not created by mankind. And yes, of course, we've seen other evidence where it could potentially be UAPs, and then we later find out that there's drones. But there is a certain amount of evidence that we simply can't explain. Some of the physics that are defied in how these vehicles operate are very interesting to note. And we are not the only government that's looked into this extensively. But I really do look at this from a lens of national security. And as you know, as we continue to evolve, specifically on the front of AI and drone technology, we have to ensure that are these things, whatever they may be, are they potential adversarial weapons, advanced weapons, or not? not. And I think the whole aspect that the federal government can deny access to members of Congress, of which has happened not just to myself, but to other members of Congress as well, is not just alarming, but it's also something that cannot truly exist in a free and fair society. The government should not operate in secrecy. And so I look forward to the American people being able to determine their own conclusion after they've seen some of the evidence that we've seen. But most recently, Representative Gates actually came forward. He was on that initial CODAL with me and Representative Tim Burchett, where we were denied access. And he will tell you that if you've seen some of the stuff that we've seen, you will too become a believer.
So, gentlemen, a demonstration. This is what those kids think they're hearing on those headsets. And this is what they're really hearing.
Conform. Free will is overrated. Jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, that voice. I know that voice. It's,
It's Mr. Movie Phone.
Yes!
He does all our subliminal tracks.
There is no such place as Area 51.
Excellent work, Fiona. These kids will never know what hit them.
Did you know your backward voice might reveal your secrets and the CIA knows it? Here's the crazy theory. Some believe that when you speak, hidden thoughts or truths are encoded in your words. Playing your voice backward could expose subconscious secrets you didn't even realize you were hiding. In the 20th century, this idea caught the attention of researchers and even intelligence agencies like the CIA. Allegedly, they explored reverse speech during experiments to uncover hidden truths or lies. While there's no solid proof the CIA actively uses this, the concept has fueled conspiracy theories for decades.
In 1983, David Oates dropped his Walkman into the toilet. Now, if you're under 40 years old, a Walkman was a portable cassette player. If you're under 30, a cassette was how we listened to music in the Stone Age. Anyway, after being dropped, David's tape player would only play tapes in reverse. Now, at first he thought this was entertaining. There are lots of songs that contain hidden messages that you could only hear if you played them backward. But those messages were placed there intentionally. Soon, David discovered messages hidden in human speech that were not intentional. Messages that were put there by the speaker's subconscious. Now, it turns out we all do this. In fact, when we lie, our subconscious actually encodes the truth backward inside the lies that we tell. Now, this is really interesting because that means the truth about every conspiracy is right in front of your nose.
I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one.
Died from cancer. He was assassinated.
Raise your hand if you heard anything right away. Okay, that was without me even telling you anything. I've seen a lot of hands go up. Forward. Your stairway lies on the whispering wind. Forward it says, and your stairway lies on the whispering wind. Backwards it says, cause I live with Satan. Listen carefully. Raise your hands if you heard that. Quite clear, quite obvious. Let's listen on. Backwards it says the piper's calling you to join him, or forward. Backwards it says the Lord turned me off. Raise your hands if you heard that. Forward it says, and it makes me wonder. Backwards it says, there's no escaping it. Raise your hands if you heard that. Okay, it's quite obvious, and it's quite clear.
That thing when they played Stairway to Heaven backwards and said that you were talking about Satan?
Well, you know, I'm going to go straight back to the Beatles here, because there was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead. But if you played back the records, there was something which said Paul is dead. And so then they started to play back all manner of records, and of course we were going to be main candidates for it. Somebody said, oh, it says My Sweet Satan in it. And I thought, oh, gosh, it's hard enough writing the music one way round rather than that.
What you're about to see is a collection selected from several million advertisements jerked out of magazines. They were correlated and analyzed to see what type of words were used to control people. Most of the words are on a grade school level. Most people flip through a magazine trying to read the magazine. They only stop at the ad if the ad is powerful enough to control them. Very soon you will see the actual words that have been manipulating society for decades. Inside this
it's that time again. Time to relax and kick up your feet. Grab your favorite beverage and tune in to the Rundown Live, your forecast into the future.
And because of this administration, we are tonight a world divided. We are a nation becalmed. We have lost the brisk pace of diversity and the genius of individual creativity. We are plodding along at a pace set by centralized planning, red tape, rules without responsibility, and regimentation without recourse.
Madam Speaker, I have a few questions for my colleagues. What if our foreign policy of the past century is deeply flawed and has not served our national security interests? What if we wake up one day and realize that the terrorist threat is a predictable consequence of our meddling in the affairs of others and has nothing to do with us being free and prosperous?
To be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting. How? Because when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, we had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan.
Promise of being one of the most effective treatments for AIDS and cancer in history. Now it's gone, and one of the most respected research facilities in the country is being blamed.
Participation in a process that validates an establishment that never meaningfully changes. What if that establishment doesn't want and doesn't have the consent of the governed? What if the two-party system was actually a mechanism used to limit so-called public opinion? What if there were more than two sides to every issue, but the two parties wanted to box you into a corner, one of their corners?
Censored by the mainstream media, the destroyer of fake news, and your host of the Rundown Live, Kristan T. Harris.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are on this continent. I'm your host, Kristan T. Harris, bringing you information you won't hear anywhere else. We're live right now on Ground Zero Plus, so make sure you guys check out Ground Zero Plus to get the audio and the radio, as well as you can find us on social media. We got Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and you know the places. You know where to find us. Make sure that you guys are going over there supporting the people that make this broadcast possible as well. So I want you guys to really think about what we're going to be talking about today. We have some very interesting stories that we'll be diving into, and we're going to be talking about reverse speech. We've been blessed enough to have David Oates, the father of research of this subject and on this topic. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that Ground Zero Plus is the place to be. That is where you're going to get this broadcast Monday through Friday. And we got new affiliates coming, guys. New affiliates on the Rundown Live. That means we're going to reach more people. And it's you guys who are spreading the word. As you guys know, we've been here for 15 years. We've been through roller coasters, but you guys have stuck around. So let your friends know. Tune in Monday through Friday if they want the truth. Share this, cut this up, make reels out of it. I give you complete permission to abuse and use everything we got to spread the good gospel and get the information out there, because it's really important that people have all the information out there to feed the garden of their mind so they can grow healthy ideas, because we want people to be able to think for themselves. And really, that's what this program is about, is deprogramming your mind. So Ground Zero Plus, support them. Also, make sure that you guys are out there and you guys check out Fringe It. Fringe It is the social media for us cool kids. It's $1 per month, but it keeps all the bots, the AI, and all the spam out. And you can get our broadcast live right on fringeit.co. They broadcast it live Monday through Friday. And by the way, if you've been listening to us after Clyde Lewis, that's right, this broadcast can be caught again. So if you've joined us late on any broadcast, after Clyde Lewis on Ground Zero Plus, and you can hear all the broadcasts on the rundownlive.com and Spotify. So go to Spotify, go to iHeartRadio if you're working, and if you want to plug in, that's the way to do it. And there's no better way than the on-air disclosure app to listen to all the broadcasters on Ground Zero Plus. So that being said, today's going to be a really interesting show. I first heard about David Oates from Ryder Lee. I had Ryder Lee on the show. I know I was on Alex Jones InfoWars filling in as a host over there. And Ryder Lee was talking about this guy who was deciphering what backwards speech means. And I'm like, why would people want to reverse speech? Why is it that people would want to hear things backwards? And, that just sounds weird to me. I worked in music for 16 years. And so I understand that there's a lot of occultism. There's a lot of witchcraft. If you look into the John Todd stuff about Zodiac Productions, which is like Columbia, RCA, Capitol, they used to do conjuring and either what you would call cast spells into the vinyl or masters so that it would create addiction, create excitement, sell more, prosperity, and who knows what else. But they would intentionally put things on vinyl or make it so vinyl would say things backwards, or tapes would say things backwards. But that doesn't even tie into like the subliminal aspects, mind control, MK Ultra. There's all these things that can be subliminally input into video and audio. And before I bring David on, I want to show you one of his videos so you guys get an idea, because not everything is Satan, right? Not everything is God and joy. Sometimes it's just really basic things that people are saying. And so what David believes is subconsciously when we speak, if you play what we say backwards, it reveals a subconscious truth or subconscious communication. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and play this first clip for you. This is from the takeoff of the rocket yesterday. And reverse speech analysis, make sure reversespeech.com is his website. I want to give him credit, so check this out. It's going to be interesting, guys. This happened yesterday, by the way. If you didn't know, we're going to the moon.
9, 8, 7, RS 25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. No. Boost. Ear. Off. No. Boost. Ear. Off. No. Boost. Ear. Off.
Houston, now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis 2 mission around the moon. Mission boosts in the rocket. Mission boosts in the rocket. Mission boosts in the rocket. Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute. Now it's fellowship. Now it's fellowship. Now it's fellowship. I'm standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation expected at the 2-minute 9-second mark. Record loss for that. Record loss for that. Record loss for that. We see throttle down.
Now, the idea of playing things backwards and getting messages is interesting to me because the last couple months and especially in the last few weeks, I've interviewed a lot of MK Ultra survivors and programming humans, amongst other things. But the idea that our brain might be subconsciously injecting the truth, let's say if you lie or you're trying to be deceitful, could give us a lot of answers. Think about how the government could use that to find the truth out about people just by playing audio backwards. So before I bring my guest on, I want to tell you a little bit about him. David, in his early 20s, left insurance sales to work full-time as a youth pastor and street outreach worker. He ran a halfway house and rehab center for at-risk kids in Adelaide. It was there in 1984 that he first heard about backward masking in rock music. David, welcome to this broadcast. Thank you for joining me today. And today's going to be a really interesting episode. I'm glad that we could have you on the program today. How are things going? And make sure you're unmuted here, brother. Okay, we got you unmuted.
Good. That would help to have me unmuted. I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, David, I got to ask you, let's start with this. You discovered reverse speech in 1984 while working with street kids, right? And experimenting with rock music, backmasking. Can you walk us through exactly, like, what was the aha moment? Like, there's something here.
Okay. Well, yeah, I started in 84. I was running a halfway house for street kids, and one of the kids gave me an audio cassette. Back in those days, we had little cassettes, and it was a sermon of a American preacher preaching that rock and roll was satanic, and if you played the records backward, you could get these evil messages. And I go, oh yeah, okay, all right. I'm an audio guy, a ham radio operator, so I went home and played some rock and roll records backwards, and I could hear these things. I go, well, heavens, what is that? And I was quite intrigued. And they weren't, there was a couple that was satanic, but a lot of them weren't. They was just sort of straightforward, mundane stuff. But my real aha moment for me came in 87, in February of 87. I was running recording back was a famous radio broadcast, and I suddenly heard this really clear phrase that said, "Man will spacewalk." And I go, oh my God, what is that? And I played it forward, and it was Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. So that was my aha moment. It was like, wow, that is really clear. And it was then that I realized, well, this just doesn't occur in music only. I mean, up until I did my work, all we ever heard about was backward messages in music, you know, these satanic messages and whatever they are. But to suddenly hear it in speech puts a whole new perspective on it. So I started running speech backwards, and I found this stuff everywhere, all throughout speech. I thought, well, this is insane. What on earth is this? And I went to the library. This is the day before the internet. I went to the library and researched linguistics and psychology, and there was no work done anywhere on it. And I thought, my God, this is a completely new discovery. And that's what started me on my road in 87. I got some press in Australia, and that led me over to America. I got press and coverage and lectures in America, and now here we are 40 years later, and I'm 40 odd years later, and I'm still doing it. So that's the story.
Not just a little press. You were on the Larry King show, and you were on the Today Show. So it wasn't like small networks. Larry King was larger than life. And I had the luxury of being involved with an organization that worked with Larry King one time in 2012 to host the first ever third-party presidential debates before he passed. And I know Christina Tobin, she felt to have a close relationship with him. And it seemed very interesting, like a really good person. And he wanted the truth. I think he wanted to research interesting things. But when it comes down to this, so you discover this, so you're hearing things backwards, and you're starting to make up what words are. But like, when did you start to put together that there might be just more than a coincidence here? That there's like speech backwards is kind of like.
It was all the connections between the forward and the reverse dialogue. I wasn't finding random stuff like I eat hamburger or
Right.
It was this connection, like man will spacewalk is connected to Neil Armstrong walking on the moon, and the next one I found was on the JFK assassination, and the reversal says he's shot bad. Hold it, try and look up, and that's got this direct connection to what's said forwards, and after probably 3 or 4 months of seeing all of this stuff, it was like, there's no way this is a coincidence. It can't be. It is happening too often and too regularly, and in contact with the fours for this to be a coincidence. It has to be another form of communication, and that's when I wrote my theory that language is bilevel. I'm proposing that this is a natural form of language, that as the brain is speaking, it's putting speech together in such a way that we're saying two things, one forwards and one backwards. So I say there's nothing spiritual about it. It's just a natural function of language. They found satanic messages in rock and roll, well, because quite frankly, back in the 70s and the 80s, a lot of the bands went into the occult. So there's really nothing surprising about that, you know.
Yeah, we were talking about that with John Todd. We've been discussing a lot of his stuff recently. Just because he went to jail doesn't mean that he wasn't wrong, or that he was wrong about a lot of the things that he said and experienced. And we learned a lot that there was a whole mission by occultists to really infiltrate religious organizations. And, you know, back in the 80s, I remember some of my favorite Christian, you mentioned rock and roll. I remember some of my favorite Christian rock bands, Jerusalem, Stryper, Bloodgood, you know, then later on I had the DC Talks and the Newsboys.
Yeah, I remember them. Back in the 80s, Stryper, yeah.
And so, like, we had all these, and even before that, you had Larry Norman and other individuals out there trying to break the Christian rock into the mainstream. And, John Todd's claim is that they wanted this to help sell more secular albums. And not only that, they could put the subliminals in the records to try to encourage that. Encourage the people to transition from maybe the Christian version of Led Zeppelin or whatever it might be. And so when you started talking about playing things backwards and there being messages, so some of it can be subconscious, but can record industries purposely put messages that play backwards? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh yeah, sure. It was quite a trend back in the day. It was called backward mastering. They would deliberately superimpose the track backwards, and people often get the two confused. You've actually got two distinct phenomena. One is intentional backward mastering. That's where they do it at the recording studio, and the other one is reverse speech, where it's not intentional. It's that dual communication that's coming out. So there's two things going on. Yeah.
So when you look at this information, some of it we take in subliminally. Is that maybe why people get a perception when somebody's lying to you? They know something's off, is because subconsciously your brain picks up the lie when it plays it backwards? Because I mean, what's the psychology behind it? Does our brain actually take speech and play it backwards and forward in our mind, so it subconsciously knows when somebody's lying to us or being dishonest? How does this work?
Absolutely so. It's a dual form of communication. We are hearing the reversals of each other all the time and recognizing it as intuition. Oh, I can know, I get a sense that guy's saying something to me. We've done an electroencephalograph test, and we can see the brain receiving and responding to the reversals. So, like, you think of a classic example. You want a cup of coffee, and you're thinking, I like a cup of coffee. And then someone says to you, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? And you say, well, look at that, what you're picking at right now. and you think to yourself, gee, I was just thinking that. You must have read my mind. Well, many times they've actually said it backwards. And I maintain it's a lot of what human intuition is all about, that sense of knowing that aha, yeah, I trust that guy, I don't trust that guy. It's reverse speech. We are receiving and responding. It's a communication.
And that might be why people have a gut instinct. So this could kind of be like a truth serum. Like, you would think that the government would have a heavy interest in this. So I did a little bit of research on, obviously, I try to do a lot of research on my guests. And I looked up and I saw that something that really hit home is I learned early on that in the Christian industry, if you believe in the spiritual battle between, God and Lucifer or Satan, you learn that the church is the cesspool of satanic leadership. A lot of times these individuals, they infiltrate the church to mislead the church. I mean, if that's your goal, is to bring people to hell or turn them away from God, there's no better way than writing Christian music or be involved in the church ministries or trying to be involved in the Vatican or anything that is associated with the Creator. And so when I started watching your videos, my childhood gut started to hit. I'm like, I knew it. Like there's some things here that are very interesting. Like my soul is speaking to me. Right? What was it? Jimmy Swaggart? Is that the one I saw that you had up there? Like when you.
I've got dozens of them up there. Yeah, Jimmy Swaggart's one of them. Yeah.
But you think about these people that are very successful. So I start to think of the other like prophets per se, the Joel Osteens of the world, right? I start to think, and these people I have questions and these gut instincts on, and I'm like, I want to start playing their stuff backwards. I wonder what they say. So who are some of the what are some of the most surprising people in surprising messages? And then maybe we'll get into like, is there positive messages too? Like, what are the good things that are coming out, and what are some of the things that surprise you?
Well, there are positive messages too. So yes, I don't want you to think they're all bad. Can I? Is it possible to share screen?
Yes,
here?
absolutely. Share with me. I have you set up to
Let
share
me,
too.
Okay, let me just move that over here. Oops, hang on. Just okay. Now where do I get share media? Right, share media. Oh no, we want share screen, don't we? We want share screen. Window. There we go. Okay, this is a young Pentecostal. Oh, not Pentecostal. Sorry, correct me. I don't know whether he is. He's a young pastor. Okay, very vibrant guy. He's in the top 10 list of American fundamentalists of American preachers. His name is Steve Furtick. This is a shocking one. Now I do have good ones too.
Okay, hold on, David. Give me just a moment to get it on the screen. All right, there we go. We got it on the screen for you.
They're on the screen? Okay, here we go.
It's just an amazing thing to see, just to watch you worship God. And I look around, I'm like, oh, look, this is so sweet, so beautiful.
Hug the soul, we follow Satan.
Now
that's scary. That's scary stuff. So yeah, that's some of the shocking ones. I got lots of shocking ones.
Let's keep them rolling. Let's see some of these examples, and we can stop and talk about them. I mean, as we roll, I think it's interesting, and maybe let our listeners know a little bit about who these people are, because of the fact I'm not saying these people actually follow Satan, but they're if the shoe fits, sometimes you got to ask some questions. People that raise the eyebrows that I kind of have had concerns about.
Okay. So you want some of the big names? All right. Let me go back to. I did a whole bunch of research back in. You asked about Jimmy Swaggart, so let me bring Jimmy Swaggart up. I just had to go. I think I did him in 21. I got all my stuff for Jimmy Swaggart. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F. Jimmy Swaggart. All right. Okay. Here's Jimmy Swaggart giving a sermon. Can you see the screen there?
Yeah. All our viewers can see the screen here.
Excellent, great.
They finally, after fighting for over 300 years, they nominated the Bishop of Rome to be the Pope. The first Pope was in 611, I think.
And he says, walk the demon. Oops, gee, that skipped. Sorry about that. Let's try that again.
Pope was in 611, I think.
Now, Jimmy Swaggart had a lot of sexual scandals. So listen to this one. He was caught with prostitutes twice now.
And I know we've sinned. We've sinned greatly. But have mercy on us. And brother, he's going to answer that prayer like he's never answered a prayer in all of history.
And he says, an orgy above me.
An orgy above me. An orgy above me. An orgy above me.
You're looking into his heart, and you're seeing his heart is what you're seeing. Then you talk about Joel Osteen. So let's look at Joel.
All right, let's hear Joel Osteen, because this is suspicious. Like, I have very not happy things to say about Joel Osteen, because I just... Obviously, like, there's this intuition. I think a lot of us have had it over the years. But here's Joel Osteen. Yep, the mega church.
Here we go. Okay, here we go.
The truth is, God still had his hands on you. When you weren't making good decisions, when you were running with the wrong crowd.
And then I ruin you. And here he is. So then I ruin you. And here he is, right at the end of his one of his sermons.
If you've been impacted by our ministry, let us know in the comments below and share this page with a friend.
And he says, "Help with those debts."
Help with those debts.
Help with those debts. Help with those debts. So they're the type of guy you get from Joel Osteen. He's not the worst. There's a lot worse than him. Oh, here's one. If you don't like his sermons, this is why.
At one point, the place that he leased space from closed the parking lot to build a big parking garage. Now his customers had to park off-site and take a shuttle.
And it says, sermon sucks.
Sermon sucks.
Sermon sucks. Sermon sucks. So there you go. There's a sermon sucks. Let me
David, while you're doing that, I got a couple of questions, and I know that you. I was a key reporter in the Ghislaine Maxwell Jeffrey Epstein trial, as well as I released the victims' testimonies. I paid to have those. All of us collectively paid to have those released. We had a lot of funding, and no one wanted to cover it or hire me to cover as a reporter. And I have a lot of interest in questions about Virginia Giuffre, maybe the Epstein interview. Like, I want to play that Epstein interview from 60 Minutes backwards now, because of what you're doing, and kind of look through it to see what the guy's soul was saying, because somebody that evil and demonic and full of I'm just curious. I'm just like you. Now I want to start playing everything back. I want to play my own show backwards, David. That's where we're going with this. I want to see what I need to work on inside.
Look, once this is taken seriously, it's going to change everything. I mean, look, for whatever reason, and there are reasons why it's not well known. It's taken seriously. Let me take that. Even those in authorities take it seriously. I lectured to the CIA about this, and they've been doing their own work on it.
Wait. You lectured to the CIA on the subject of reverse speaking or reverse language?
Oh, sure. You didn't find that in your research? Here, just go and Google reverse speech CIA, and you'll see the listing on the CIA website about reverse speech. I lectured to the CIA and the FBI in 1991. When I first came to the United States, there was where do I start? Boy, I could go on forever. CNN first reported on my work when there was a memo leak between Special Investigator Scott Jones, who worked for Claiborne Pell, and Dick Cheney at the time. And he was telling Dick Cheney about reverse speech. And I was finding a code word for Operation Desert Storm. And he was telling Dick Cheney, well, look, this is what we found. What do we do? Somehow the memo was leaked to the press, and it was all over the United States. The CNN ran it, top stories for a couple of nights in a row, and you can see that news story. It's on my YouTube page.
Well, we actually have the government documents right on the page from the CIA website. It says reverse speech, and I think now you mentioned, I do recall reading something about that, but there was so much about reverse speech. What I got from things.
Yeah, they actually took a lot of the documents down. They had a lot more than that up there, but about 5 years ago they took most of them down, and they just left up. Oh yeah, there you go. I see you're looking at it, and they just left up what was there.
Well, look at that. They got contents. At least they tell you the discovery of reverse speech. You have a book out on this too, right?
Oh, I have 25 books out.
There we go. Because I was looking on Amazon, and I was like putting it in my little shopping cart, thinking about doing that.
Okay.
And I just wanted to I got a lot of books I have to get to and read. I just love to read this stuff.
There's lots of books about reverse speech I've written covering various different aspects of it. Probably the best one is Reverse Speech Lexicon, which is probably the most comprehensive work I've written on reverse speech. And I've written a big book on reverse speech metaphors that gets deep into the unconscious and the language of the unconscious, and Look, reverse speech is a very complicated subject, and there's a lot to learn. And I've been doing it for 43 years. I've learned a lot about the unconscious and human behaviour, and because I use this in therapy, I have my own practice, which I still have to this day. I work with clients in therapy, and it's magic. I mean, you just see magic changes, and it will tell exactly what the problem is and what's caused it. And in many cases, not all cases, but many cases, it tell you how to fix it, which is just really exciting stuff. So, yeah. All right, so where do we go?
We were talking a little bit about Joel Osteen, and I talked about Epstein and stuff. We got a little sidetracked, but
That's right.
and I have a way of doing that. So sometimes, as a team member of this program, you got to pull me back on track. Our listeners know we can get far from where we started with me because I like to talk. So.
Well, look, I just pulled up Ghislaine Maxwell, so seeing you brought up Epstein. So here's, we'll do this real quick. This is her interview with last year, 25, Department of Justice. Who was it with? I can't remember now. Anyway.
Was it Nathan, the Judge Nathan?
It was an interview with some representative of the FBI or Department of Justice. I'm not too sure who it was now. It was in jail. So here it is.
And I'm Ghislaine Maxwell.
I'm Ghislaine Maxwell. I'll scam elite.
Scam elite.
I'll scam elite.
All scam elite. That sounds about right here, David.
That's about right. Yeah. No secrets there. No,
they're evil people, man. I don't know everything. First of all, of everyone. That's why I love interviewing so many people because I can't know everything, and there's so many people out there that have so much different information. But when it comes to these elitists, you see, they always say by the seeds that you plant and the fruit that's given by the tree that you can kind of tell about what a person is about and who they are. And looking into Ghislaine Maxwell and then being one of the first people to be very skeptical. I can't say first people. There's a lot of people skeptical of Donald Trump. A lot of people have warned people about Donald Trump. But starting to see how he's pivoted for the United States to say, oh, surprise, I'm really, a globalist, shill and New World Order pawn at the end of the day. So, but yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell makes sense. Elite. It comes from the word L, elite. They think they're above everyone. But that's spot on. What else do we have here?
Yeah, well, seeing we're on Epstein, here's reversal. To this day, I'm surprised this has never gone public. Not public, viral. I just don't know why. This is from the BBC interview with Prince Andrew about Epstein. And, I mean, the whole interview is full of confessions. But here's one of the best reversals of all, I think. He's been asked about the picture with Virginia
Jeffrey. Yeah.
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
Backwards, he says Jeff, obviously Jeffrey Epstein, Jeff had to get murdered.
Jeff had to get murdered. Jeff had to get murdered. Jeff had to get murdered.
Pretty creepy reversal.
I mean, what are the odds of that it's subject, like it's within the context of what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, right? What are the odds that's there. It's in the context of Jeffrey Epstein. It's context of the fact that he was murdered. The idea that some of us believe that he was murdered, or that at least this individual believes that he's murdered. Some people believe, he's Palm Beach Pete, and obviously I don't think Palm Beach Pete is Jeffrey Epstein, although he's cashing in on that fame. And, obviously there's cloning and everything else everyone's talking about that's in the Epstein files.
I've been following that.
Yeah. So there's a lot, and obviously there's a lot of claims of satanic rituals with Bush, which is interesting because Stu Webb was on my show and he was married into the Bush family and said that the Bushes were involved in satanic, child sacrifice type rituals. And I was like, I don't know, Stu, that seems a little extreme. I mean, he's supposed to be the Christian conservative leader, but then he's going to Bohemian Grove and all this other stuff. So, at the end of the day, it makes me wonder. And then you start hearing all these other things in the Epstein files. There's all these reports of like Trump Trump and Epstein and other individuals being like George Bush being involved in satanic ritual abuse and sacrifice rituals. And it's like, oh my goodness. And then you start to hear things like this when you start playing things backwards. Like what was that? We had, it wasn't Miley Cyrus. It was another famous female singer we had in one of our montages before the show, and she's like calling for help. She goes, it feels useless. And if you look at her videos, they're all satanic, and it's all that Hollywood occult. So let's go ahead and see what else we got here with this.
All right, okay. So where do you want me to go? We can
Well,
go.
let's wherever you feel, wherever your heart leads you. Let's go ahead.
All right, okay. Let's go. Look. Seeing I started on the evangelist, let's finish. Oh, I tell you what. You know who's in the news now, and that is Bob Lazar.
Yeah, Bob Lazar. He's a little bit. He's questionable.
Okay. Bob Lazar. He's coming out with a big documentary, and I just posted a whole bunch of reversals of him on my Facebook page because someone was asking about him. So here we go. Here he is on Joe Rogan.
When I worked there, I was on the front page of the paper. So they were still able to archive, bring that back from the archives. And, Bob Lazar, a physicist working here at Los Alamos. So there was at least something there.
And he says, this is a fraud.
This is a fraud.
This is a fraud. This is a fraud.
There you go. And
so he's lying, or he's being disingenuous subconsciously.
He's lying.
Well, I mean, isn't that what Warner von Braun warned about Project Bluebeam, where they're going to try to get us all to buy into the alien invasion in order to establish a new world order and global government at the end of the day?
Yes, that's true. You're absolutely right. And here he is on Artville, Bob Lazar. Oh, I don't have video on this, sorry.
That's fine. Audio's fine.
Well, perhaps not before you fell asleep, but...
Well, we did make some coffee here. I detected I started rambling and not saying anything, so hopefully this...
So this is back in the late 90s. He goes, he bought the scam. Did you well?
Are you fucking the scam? Did you well?
Are you fucking the scam? Were you fucking the scam? Did you well?
He did indeed. He bought the scam.
But what are the odds of this? This is incredible. Like, when you start to think about this, like, I'm not suggesting you go out there and record your loved ones whenever you're questioning them. But, like, just think about with technology and surveillance, the kind of world this information could lead to. Like, it could lead to a very dystopian world where, like, everyone's going to be worried that everything they say is going to be dissected, and there's no, like, it sounds like a script for a movie. Like, there's no ability to lie. None. All you can do is tell the truth, at least, or give the truth, but then subconsciously, the truth is going to come out anyways. So, what are I can see why the CIA has interest in this. You're going to terrorize someone, or somebody says somebody, you want to know if they're being honest or true, you just play it backwards. And now you have AI. AI will play it backwards probably for you, and Cyber Satan will dissect what you're saying. It's a tool, but I call it Cyber Satan.
Once AI starts getting onto this and putting the tools in everyone's hands, I mean, I can't imagine the strife it's going to cause. I mean, it's amazing. Look, currently it's just me and maybe about a half a dozen around the world doing it. So it's very small. I got very big in the United States in the 90s, but it's a long story. I basically was chased out of the country. We won't even go into the story. They wanted Reverse Speech shut up, and Reverse Speech was shut up. And so I've been in Australia for the last 25 years. But AI gets hold of this. People start really realizing it's real. If I start doing more podcasts, getting the word out there, you're looking at a whole new world. You're looking at a world where there can be no lies. You're looking at a world where the truth is in the hands of everyone. Like you say, gee, I want to go home and play all my tapes backwards. You imagine 100 people going home and playing all their tapes backwards. You're looking at a
So let's talk about somebody else that has really set off my spidey senses, and that is Erica Kirk. Like the whole idea. So a couple of my first intuitions as a reporter is that the Trump administration or the government was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, just because historically the patterns show that the government's always involved. If it's JFK, MLK, RFK, there's always a government agency group that seems involved at some shape and form. So Erica Kirk fit this Red Sparrow harlot, like gorgeous, beautiful, probably has adult film stars, comes out of nowhere from the Donald Trump branch of people, gets married into Charlie Kirk's world, and all of a sudden she's taking over Turning Point. And I'm not saying that she's evil or anything. I'm just saying that I don't know, and it just seems very bizarre to me.
You're absolutely right. All right, look, I've got Erica Kirk this year. I've got Erica Kirk last year. I've got Charlie Kirk. So let's just play with a couple of Erica Kirk to start off with. This is from an interview she gave, I don't know, about 3-4 months ago.
When we got married, he was a little libertarian on some points. Forgive me if I don't have them off the top of my head, but
and she says, "Want a fame bigger?
Want a fame bigger?
Want a fame bigger? Want a fame bigger?"
That says, "Want a fame bigger? I want a lot of fame." And here she says,
And I know, again, we don't agree on a lot of things, but we can agree on how to disagree.
Live the dollar. So she wants big fame. She wants money. When she grew up with her mum, she learned how to be a Pharisee.
Well, not only that, like one of the clips apologies.
Sorry.
Yeah, one of the clips we had in the beginning in the montage, she says, these people are more horrible than my mother. And I'm starting to think about ritual abuse, because if she's a harlot or MK Ultra product, she would have came from a family of abuse, of mind control, of constant, living in fear, and to say, oh, these people are worse than my mother.
Well, this is an interesting reversal about her childhood. Listen to this.
I grew up with a mother who is an entrepreneur. It was her and I. My parents got divorced when I was very young, when I was 5.
Mama felt Pharisee.
Mama felt Pharisee.
Mama felt Pharisee.
So what does that mean?
Mama felt Pharisee.
What does that mean? You think of Pharisees, religious leaders.
Well, that's what put Jesus to death. It wasn't the Romans. The Romans wanted nothing to do with it. It was, the Jews of the time. They didn't like what Christ had to say, or Yeshua ben Pantera had to say. They just went in there and they wanted him out. They wanted him out of the picture. He was not good for business.
Yeah, they did. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Erica Kirk doesn't shape up too well, but let me play a couple of great ones on Charlie Kirk.
And Charlie Kirk, okay, so first, while you're looking for that, my concern, the first thought I had when I started, because Charlie Kirk's Turning Point, at one point, people from the organization, or a link to the organization, wanted to put me on radio, because they were looking to buy a bunch of radio stations and put their media on there. But I looked into the guy and I was hesitant. And one of the things that made me hesitant was the thought that he was staging potentially a lot of these, debates with these kids that would come up, because, of course, virality is the currency of social media. So if you can get people to say or do things crazy, right, you will get more views, you'll get more clicks, you'll get more popular, you'll get more fame. And I had a feeling that I'm not sure that was going on at all. It was just a gut instinct, a reporter's instinct. So I'm kind of curious. Like, I've never seen this one, by the way. I've never seen, the Charlie Kirk stuff. So let's go ahead and see what Charlie Kirk has to say.
Well, this one is typical Charlie Kirk. This
one. Can we go back to the original question with college being a scam? Though?
Yeah, but that's part of the point. If you're borrowing money,
but not just actuaries, not just.
And he says, "Let's stand up. We'll fight."
Charlie Kirk wants to beat this kid's butt. He wants to go out there and start throwing fists. He's, that's what I get out of that.
And here's another good one. He's joking around about some football or baseball team. One of the two.
Well, that's ball worship.
I say that, but I agree with it 100%. We don't like the Huskies at all around here. All right.
They are the badass.
Gay out of badass.
Gay out of badass. Gay out of badass.
Great reversal. As you can see, from the show so far, these are not all satanic by a
I
long
don't know
shot.
what to think, David. Dude, this is so bizarre. Like this is, but it's a constant. It's not a coincidence because it's a constant. So synchronicity and patterns show that it isn't chance. That there's a reason behind it, right? Like as a reporter, as an investigative journalist, I'm not the best out there, but I'm smart enough to realize if there's a pattern, that means either it's intentionally put in there, which subconsciously it could be, and but like, what does it mean? Like here we have Charlie Kirk, and we play things backwards, and it's always on topic with whatever I'm thinking, and it's I don't know, man. It's incredible, David.
I've played you about a dozen. I've got 70,000 media examples on my computer. That doesn't even go into my session work. I've got about 300,000 or 400,000 reversals in my private therapy practice.
What are some of the most shocking ones? What are some ones that you have looked into? How about Donald Trump? And by the way, I voted for Donald Trump. I want our listeners, I'm transparent here, because I felt he was a lesser of two evils. And people are like, well, look at what he's doing by deporting the minorities. I was like, yeah, well, if Kamala got in, they probably would have deported twice as many, except nobody would have said anything. That's what they did during the Obama administration.
Yeah, look, I've got both good and bad on Trump. Okay,
Let's see this.
So let me play a couple of good ones, and then I'll play a couple of bad ones. Okay, here we go.
I made a nice speech, one big crowd. I said, and it's all over town. Look at all that press. Look at all of them. Serve that Lord of the
Oh, and he says backwards, serve that Lord of the Light.
Serve that Lord of the Light.
Serve that Lord of the Light. Serve that Lord of the Light.
And here he says, Christ leading me.
The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control.
And it says, Christ leading me.
Christ leading me.
Christ leading me. Christ leading me.
So they're great reversals. I mean, you can't deny that.
Well, David, real quick, I want to pause this because I want to bring in the context. So last couple months, last 3 months, I've had conversations with individuals who claim that Donald Trump has changed his agenda and bought into the New World Order all of a sudden, and that essentially he's taken a now to this globalist agenda. And I'm like, not really. Now, all of a sudden with Iran, it's like literally like exactly how they told me that he's turned his heart, has changed his mentality. I don't know if it's because he's threatened or what, or he just, the whole Epstein files and him being in there and trying to do something good, like redemption per se. He's changed. I'm trying to psychologically dissect it. But here we have it, he's saying these good things about Christ. And then I'm not saying people can change their heart. And like you're saying, this is subconsciously implanting things. So maybe at this point in his life, this is where he was at. This is where he was planning. And this is what he meant,
Yeah. Yeah, look, I've actually can't find. I can't find the negative ones on him. It's not because I don't want to play him. I'm searching. I must have them in a different subdirectory than what I thought I had them on.
How about Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or any of these individuals? Pam Bondi.
Okay.
Pam Bondi seems to be a liar.
Yeah. All right. Well, hang on. Well, let me go to my standard lecture file here, and I do have quite a few on Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I don't have them in video.
No, that's fine.
Because that's way back in the early. That was way back before we had the video software. I've only had the video software.
And I'm sure there's some very funny ones. And I wonder, you got Bill Clinton with the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal, all that stuff, man.
Oh. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton. All right, look. Let me just play you one on Bill Clinton. I got to play you this. This is Bill Clinton. He was testified before the committee, Congress, just a couple of months ago about his knowledge of Epstein. So here he is. He's shown a photo of him getting a massage, and he's asked about this photo. So listen to this.
Oh, yeah, this is just recently.
That's right. This is just recently.
Do you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub.
A neck rub. I got a back rub. I got a neck rub. But backwards it says, I gotta bang it. I gotta bang it. I gotta bang it.
Well, what is a bang it? I'm going to let you guys out there decide what bang it means. I think the kids call it smash it these days. They don't use the term bang it, but back then it was probably bang it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his lingo.
Yeah, well, Bill Clinton's old school, isn't he? So he thinks in old school. But let me find a couple of current ones. Hillary Clinton was funny. Oh God, I had such fun with Hillary Clinton back in the day when she was running. Here she is. Well, look, here's one I just saw. I just picked. Oh, gee, I'm sorry about that. Okay.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Calls women pigs.
And she says, and I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you. And here she is talking away.
I have spent a very long time, my entire adult life, looking for ways to even the odds to help people have a chance to get ahead.
And here her spirit is talking to her and says, oh, be quiet.
Oh, be quiet. Oh, be quiet. Oh, be quiet.
This is conversation between spirit and conscious. This gets down to deep reverse speech theory. We won't get into that right now. Oh, I know one I want to play you. This is I want you to watch the video language on this. This gets down into some of the.
By the way, I just want you to know you still, although we heard that, you still have the Bill Clinton video up on the share screen. Okay, now you got it. All right, gotcha. Oh, JFK. Yeah. Hey, I spent a week with Lee Harvey Oswald's former lover, Judith Baker. So this is another subject close.
Wow. Oh, well, I've done the whole JFK assassination. I've spent several months researching all of that, 6 or 7 years ago now. This is a great reversal. This gets down into the deeper aspects of reverse speech. This is JFK in his inaugural address. Okay, now I want you to watch Lyndon Johnson. And he actually moves. The only time he moves is right at the moment JFK gives his reversal. You'll see it when I play the reversal at 3 speeds. So here we go.
Proud of our ancient heritage and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
Now watch Johnson. He says backwards, head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
So this is a prophetic reel almost. This is almost like him predicting that this is what's going to happen, right?
Exactly correct. That's a future tense prediction. It's a premonition.
Do you see that a lot in reverse speech?
Yes, I do. Yes, it's not uncommon. Reverse speech is not only confined to present tense; it looks into future. I've been pretty accurate making future tense predictions with reverse speech over the years. I've had a couple of failures, it's because I don't understand the technology properly, I've had to learn this thing from scratch,
absolutely. So, these are some of the questions, I come across because I got it on the fly and we kind of have a conversation and it's very interesting. Reverse speech is, the question is, when you start looking at the brain activity, and if the government knows this, they should have access to some kind of premonition of what's going to happen, what's not. It's kind of scary of the computer aspect of things if they're reverse speeching all of our stuff. It's just incredible all around when you start looking at this, that this guy, JFK, who gave the speech, he was shot in his head. He had his head blown off completely, and, they actually scooped the brain out of the skull. I was at an event with one of the guys that was in the room with JFK when they did the autopsy and 5-star generals told him how to do his job, and they wouldn't allow him to look at the back of the skull, and they scooped his brain out so he couldn't really see what happened. Allegedly, this is what I was told. I got video of it, and I recorded the whole thing. This is back about 15 years ago. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, JFK, that's another one. And you just look at pop culture all around. They all say different things, but it's all congruent to what their lifestyle is like. A lot of these celebrities, I saw them with Britney Spears and everyone else, the sexualization, girls screaming, help me, that they're involved in Satanism or Hail Satan, all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting what you have here, David. It really is. When we look,
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I've devoted my whole life to it. And look, I'm a youth worker by profession. I'm not a linguist or a psychologist. You talk about the church. I was a youth pastor for 3 years in my early 20s. I'm 70 now, so that's where I come from. So for me to get involved in this type of field is totally out of left field. It's certainly nothing I've planned for my life.
Well, you could use this to uncover child trafficking, right?
Yeah.
Doing some of these individuals like Anthony Weiner, John Podesta,
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless. The uses. Where do you begin? I use it in therapy. Look, I got a client now who contracted my services 3 months ago to track trades on the stock market. He's been making his trades based on his reversals. It's been 100% accurate so far.
What?
When to buy, when to sell. I mean, it just the last one we just did, the stocks dropped because of the war. And then we got a reversal last week. Buy, don't delay. So he went and bought it immediately, a particular stock he was talking about, and the next day it went up by 20%. So the reversal was that accurate. When it said don't delay, it means do it right now. I mean, that's just one of the many uses of it. I mean, where do you? I get my mind gets boggled when I think of the applications. What it essentially means is that the human mind is no longer private. We now have a way to look into not just conscious thought. It's not just conscious thought. It's unconscious thought, and it goes down to the collective unconscious and to the soul itself. It's who we are on all levels: conscious, unconscious, and spirit. And that makes it an amazing technology. It really does.
So looking at all this, what are some of the most disturbing discoveries you have found? Is there anything that is like when we start talking about the system, the beast system, end time prophecy, all these different individuals that are in the news right now? I'm a big fan of Thomas Massey. For some reason, I feel he's genuine. He's going after these, child trafficking czars and extortion czars. But
no reversals on him at all. No. Look, I would have to say the most shocking ones have been all the ones I found on the church. I mean, that's been the most shocking. I mean, let me play you the Pope.
Okay. Which, by the way, for the listeners that don't understand, at the Council in Nicaea in around 300 A.D., was that Constantine was the last emperor of Rome, and they believe him to be the first pope of the Catholic Church, which was a sun worshiper, which is really satanic Luciferianism, and the cannibalism. And in fact, the term cannibalism comes from Cana and Baal, cannibal, and Jeffrey Epstein's bank account was called Baal, and Baal's another incarnation of Moloch and child sacrifice and storm gods. We just had Ryan Gable on the show talking about all this, and you start looking into this. It's all linked. It's all interesting. So I'm kind of curious to what you have here.
Okay, all right. Here's Pope Francis. Now, the new Pope, Pope Leo, actually doesn't shape up too bad at all. He's actually quite good. This is Pope Francis from 2016 talking to Congress. Oops.
We know that it's very difficult to judge the past by the criteria of the present.
And it says, I raped the other kids. Yum. Stop it. And he's wrestling inside of his conscience. I raped the other kids. Yum. Stop it.
I raped the other kids. Yum. Stop it.
I raped the other kids.
Is this the same Pope that Jeffrey Epstein was hanging out, that he had a little place in the Vatican?
You're absolutely right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm just saying. So does this work with other language? Like, if ich spreche sehr gut Deutsch. So if I start speaking German, does it play back in German in the truth, or does it depend on the consciousness? I'm sure this is something that you've thought about or have come across.
Look, I've done very little research for other languages. I only speak English. Look, I've trained people who are Spanish-speaking, French, and German. They're finding reversals in their own language, but what they're finding is it's the language that you're thinking in. So
Okay.
if you're thinking in French, you're speaking in English, reversals will be in French. But if you got to the stage where you're actually thinking in the language, then the reversal will be in the language that you're speaking. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense, David. And this is such an incredible research, David. I would love to keep you on forever, but I appreciate you joining us today for at least an hour. And, so I guess we're going to leave it with this. If there's one story here that you're researching or something that you've really found interesting that is in current news, obviously we had the moon landing. I always thought that the photographs and the video of the moon landing were fake, right? But I'm not saying that we didn't go to the moon, but I kind of find it hard to believe that something that looks like it came out of the Cracker Jack box landed on the moon, and they spent all this money to film. And they have all these videos, but they just don't seem realistic to me. I don't know what it is. So I know right now the moon landing is popular. What are your thoughts on the moon landing? Have you ever researched Buzz Aldrin or any of these other individuals on whether they're lying or not?
Yes, I have. The Apollo 11 happened. It was real. A reversals are all congruent. Apollo 12, there was a secret mission. They had ulterior motives for going there. Look, we could get a whole conversation on this. I've done Apollo 11, Apollo 12, and Apollo 17. So the lie is not that we didn't go. The lie is what we found when we went there. That's what the lie is. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
All right, David, I appreciate you joining us. Can you let our listeners know, for the people that have not heard of you before, where they can find you, where they can find information? Because I think it's incredible. And I'm going to have you back on. But except next time I have you back on, maybe we can talk about one or two big things that are in the news that are trending, and you can dissect it for us. Because and I'm going to start playing with this, and I'm going to send you some of the things that I found, because I do a lot of video and audio editing, so I have the ability to do that. What kind of software do you use to play things backwards, by the way, David?
Well, we have our own. I've developed my own software. We have audio and video software that runs forwards and backwards and variable speeds. So you can get that from my website. Oh, actually, the product page is down. I got to get that back up in the next week or so. Currently, the products page is down, but I get it fixed. So that's what I use. We've got our own software developer, and he developed the software for us. So there you go.
All right. David Oates, reversespeech.com is our guest. Make sure, if there is one book that people should pick up, can they find that on your website? Here we go. We got products. We can find it.
If you just scroll down on the main page, just you've got off the. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's books. Just scroll down a little bit more. You'll see books. Up a little bit. Up. No, the other way. There we go. That's the right way. You bit more. Books right there. See that there? Get the reverse speech lexicon. If you want to know all about reverse speech, I think that's up there.
Yep.
Just saw it. Yeah. Reverse speech lexicon. That's the Bible of reverse speech. That's the one to get.
All right, I'm going to get it on Audible, and if you're out there listening, make sure that you guys go ahead and support him. And I'm going to find this on my Audible when we get off the show here, and I'm going to make a purchase. So I appreciate you guys should do that too. Listen, check out David Oates. David Oates has some great information. What an incredible broadcast! How exciting, man! Like it's hard to excite me because I cover so many different variables, but this is something I never really looked into, and now I understand why some of my friends are now obsessed with reverse speech, and they want to know because it's a way of finding out maybe a direction of the way things are going, finding out things for the future. And like you said, some people use it for financial benefit. Maybe my subconscious will say that I'm going to be single my whole life because that's how I feel. Like we don't know how that works. But that being said, if anyone has any questions for David in the chat, please drop them now. Now is the time. By the way, David, I want to share with you, we have a very lively chat today, and people in the chat have all sorts of questions and are saying wonderful things about this broadcast. Todd Jones says great stuff. People are saying that the show is cool. This information is cool. And somebody says, the flux capacitor says some pretty clear reversals. Yeah, they're very clear, and they're on point, and they're on topic. It makes me just wild and wild. I'm surprised you haven't. Have you been on Joe Rogan yet, or any of these other big shows? Have you done any Joe Rogan's reversals?
Yes, I have. I'd love to be on Joe Rogan. I don't know how to get onto him. It's on invite only. I'd love to be on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he's on invite only, I think, for the most part. I do have connections. I have emails, but I've had no success myself. But I can at least put the word out there and maybe send it up along the chain. And I think it might be something he might be interested in. I can't promise anything. I can just do my best and let God do the rest. Right, David? That's how it works.
I understand that. Don't worry. I know. Okay. All right. Look, yes, send the word out. If we can get me on Joe Rogan, you'll be my best friend.
I don't know. I can't get myself, but I can send it up there. I'm surprised. It's interesting. At least let them see what you're doing. Like, you should put together, we call it in media, we call it a spice reel or a hot reel where it has a whole bunch of these. And what you should do is put about 10 minutes worth together of just things that are like, whoa, that's crazy. And I think that would be like, you should be way more viral than you are right now, David. This is incredible stuff. And at some point in the future, I may be hosting on InfoWars or the Alex Jones program, and I'm going to ask you. But the thing is, it's very short notice I get sometimes. So, David, thank you very much. We're going to have to help you out and get you on some other programs. I have a great friend, Richard Sirrett, that I've met recently that does Strange Planet. I don't know if you've been on there, but okay, so you've already been on. Richard Sirrett's a great guy, interesting individual. That being said, listeners, check out David Oates. He has a website, davidoates.com, as well as reversespeech.com. He's got documents in the CIA. And, David, I also would like a copy of those CIA documents that they deleted. Do you have a copy of those by chance?
Oh, dear me. I'll have to look. I can't remember. I think I probably do. Yeah, I'll look and let you know. Okay.
That being said, thank you again for joining us. Have a blessed night. If you guys are tuning in, we'll be back on Monday at noon till 2 o'clock. If you want to support us, you can do so on the rundownlive.com. Go to David's website, davidoates.com, as well as reversespeech.com. Pick up his books, find out more. And I'm telling you, this stuff is fascinating. I'm going to immediately after this go and get the Audible and start listening to it while I'm doing work here and everything else. So for everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. If you got some faves, show tips at the Rundown Live. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio. And where can we find you on social media, David?
Facebook, david.oates.7509. I post on my Facebook page several times a day. Facebook.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys next week. Kristan T. Harris signing out on the Rundown Live.
Oil and slave labor. These two wonderful industries make modern life a breeze. And what this fine little filly doesn't realize is that her chic accessories and stunning appearance come from oil and slave labor.
Huh?
That's right, classy lassie. Everything from your thong to your nail polish, your smartphone to your eyelashes come from oil and slave labor. Your top from Uzbekistan. Shorts from China. Jewelry from Indonesia. And your iPhone from Taiwan.
Oh, no, not my iPhone!
Steve Jobs may have been a genius, but he couldn't work like a 5-year-old Asian boy can. Even your bra and panties from Bangladesh. Whoa there! Looks like science can go no further. Except for these silicone beauties from DuPont.
Hey.
Oil and slave labor, making the Western world beautiful.